Hello, everyone. This is Greg Drevenson, editor-in-chief at Rider Magazine, and your host for the Rider Magazine Insider Podcast. Our guest today is Scott Moreno. Scott is managing director of IMTBIKE, a motorcycle tour and rental company that's based in Madrid, Spain, and has offices in Barcelona, Bilbao, Málaga, and Lisbon. IMTBIKE is celebrating its 25th anniversary this year. We talked to Scott about how he started the company, the types of motorcycle tours and rentals IMTBIKE offers, and the company's philosophy. IMTBIKE enjoys an 85% repeat rate among tour clients, and last year it received a Traveler's Choice Best of the Best award from TripAdvisor. Stick around for another great conversation. Hey Scott, welcome to the show.
How you doing, Greg? Great to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Awesome. Well, I'm in Southern California and you're in Madrid, Spain. So we got 9 hours between us. It's 8 a.m. in the morning here, and it's what, 5 o'clock your time in the evening?
Exactly. It's 5 p.m., 5 in the afternoon here in Madrid.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us at the end of your Monday. So, hey, it's really cool to talk to you about IMTBIKE. The first overseas tour that I did was with you, with your tour guide, Chano. My wife, Carrie, joined us. We did a tour of Spain and Portugal back in 2010 for 2 weeks.
Exactly.
It was awesome. So, so tell us, what I want to know is a little bit about IMTBIKE. But first, I mean, you are based in Madrid, Spain, but you're an American. Correct. So you are managing director, co-owner of a tour company based in Spain. How did that come about? Okay,
well, I was born in New York City, Greg. So I lived in New York City, but I grew up in northern New Jersey. I came over to Madrid with New York University to study junior year abroad type of thing. I fell in love with Spain. And then after working as a broker in Madrid, I did an MBA, and then I came back to Madrid. And then I was sent to Dubai to work and trade currencies for a Swiss company. So I was 32 years old. I was trading currencies, living in Dubai. You would think I had it all, Greg, but I was miserable. Okay, I didn't want to, wear a suit and tie. I didn't want to be in an office. And somebody said, "Well, what would you like to do?" I said, "I love motorcycles. I love traveling. I love adventure." She said to me, "Why don't you start a motorcycle touring company?" So I moved back. I was transferred back to the Madrid office. I started working on a business plan at night, traded currencies during the day. I bought 8 BMWs and started the company from my Malasaña apartment on a 5th floor walk-up.
Wow. So now it's, you are, like I said, you're headquartered in Madrid, but you've got offices Correct. In Barcelona, Bilbao, Málaga, Lisbon. I mean, so Correct. Yeah. And you just celebrated your 25th anniversary. Is that correct?
That is correct. 1997 to 2022. We do have 5 offices that we own. We have a fleet of 200 BMW motorcycles. We're only using BMW. I believe that's the largest fleet of BMWs in the world, and they're divided amongst the 5 bases. You can rent the motorcycles. We do self-guided tours, so you could give us your dates and tell us what tour you want to do, and we'll set it up for you. Or you could come on a guided tour just like you and Carrie did when you did the Spain and Portugal tour, whatever you want to do.
Right. Well, the group tours or organized tours, I know I've been on a number of them, and that, you guys take care of everything. You set up the hotels, you pick people up at the airport, you shuttle some luggage, and you've got a tour guide, everything is involved. And then, so how does a self-guided tour work?
Okay, good question. A self-guided tour is for people that maybe the organized dates don't work for them, but they always wanted to see Portugal, for example, or they have dates that work better, or maybe they're not, group people. When I give a presentation at the MOA rally, I always mention Charles Bukowski, who's one of my favorite writers, and he said, I love people, but I seem to feel better when they're not around. So if you kind of can identify with that, then a self-guided tour is perfect for you. We set up all the hotels. We have a preloaded GPS, tour handbook, maps. We give you a 1.5 hour briefing, explain the whole tour to you. You have any issues during the week or 2 week tour, You can call us up and we'll solve any type of issues for you. And then you can leave, whatever time you want in the morning if you're an early riser, or you go out at night and you want to sleep in a little bit, whatever you want to do. It just gives you a little added freedom if that's what you're into.
Sure. I mean, the group tours, I know for some people, they enjoy the camaraderie of meeting new people from different
Exactly.
parts of the country or different countries. But some people want to do like, a husband-wife tour, a couple of buddies, father and son, and they just like, hey, I've always dreamt about going riding around in Europe. And but the planning of a trip is like, what hotel should you stay in? And there's a lot of research that goes into it.
Absolutely.
You vetted all
Absolutely.
of the hotels and restaurants. So
We've been doing this for 25 years, and we're constantly checking, doing due diligence to make sure the hotels and the restaurants are up to our standards. And we have very, very high standards. I have very high standards. In Spain and Portugal, we like to use paradors and posadas. You remember those when you were here with Carrie. They're converted castles, palaces, historical buildings. They're not snobbish at all. People in Spain and Portugal love motorcycles. So if you walk into the reception with a helmet and leathers on, nobody's going to look at you, with a snooty face or anything like that. They're just great, great hotels. The same for the restaurants. I mean, we enjoy good food and wine. So it's very important to us that people can enjoy European food, Spanish, Portuguese, French, Italian. I would say 99% of the times they can choose right off the menu, which opens up a whole. Depending, not everybody likes fish or meat, so they can choose whatever they want. But it's very important to me that the quality is very high. I kind of consider our tours, IMTBIKE, to be the gold standard. I really think that our quality is extremely high, and to maintain that quality, we really have to check. Every year we have to make sure that everything is up to our standards. I like to mix it up and go on different tours also, to see the guides working and also to check on the hotels and the restaurants.
sure. Well, I mean, I do remember staying in those the paradors and posadas. Is that not only are they these really cool, like you said, it can be a castle or some sort of historic building, maybe a former monastery or something. So they've got cool artwork and things in the wall, but is the restaurants, they showcase like the local specialties. I mean, there's Spanish wine, but each region has its own cheeses and wines and
Exactly.
specialty dishes and stuff. And that was a really cool part of the tour. So
Exactly. I mean, it's when you go overseas to do a motorcycle tour, and you mentioned this before, there's a lot of legwork into it. If you're going to be in Andalusia, southern Spain, once in your life, you either have to, put the time in to make sure that you find the good roads, the good hotels and everything, or you can come on an organized tour and have everything professionally done for you. And it's just one way to make sure, a surefire way that you're going to have a great time. You're not going to go on a road that's under construction or a restaurant that's closed, etc. I mean, you're guaranteed to have a great time. And the one thing about organized tours is that we're also very flexible on the organized tours. I mean, again, if you're an early riser or if you want to go out at night, that's absolutely fine with us. We don't care. Just let us know. You have the route book. You could have a GPS, and you just meet us at the next lunch stop or at the next hotel. It's absolutely fine. But you're guaranteed to have a great experience.
yeah. Well, and that's one thing some people may not appreciate or realize is that, yes, as most of the time people typically stick with the group. Again, they sort of like the comfort of it. They're in a foreign country that maybe they're not familiar with. But yeah, if you wanted to take a day off on your own and take your own route or something, you can provide a custom route, or they could just go at their own pace. And that's so
Exactly.
there is a lot of flexibility, because I know you guys, you have a lot of people that go on your tours. They come back again and again. They go on one tour, they like it, they want to try another tour. Yeah.
Exactly. We actually have an 85% repeat rate for our organized tours, for our tours, which means if we have 10 people on a tour, that 8.5 people will come back again. How the half person comes back, Greg, I don't know. But we're getting them back. And you know something, I'm super proud of that statistic. That really says that we're doing something well. And again, I mentioned if we have 10 people on a tour, but we have small groups, we cut off at 16 people or 10 motorcycles, whatever we reach first. I mean, that's where we cut it off. So we don't have 25 people, 30 people on a tour. But I think one of the beauties of an IMT bike tour, and it's actually our logo, 25 years of magic, is that 10 people on a tour, all 10 people want something a little bit different. So you and Carrie have been over to Europe 10 times already, so you feel comfortable. But Kurt's never been to Europe before, and Clem just is interested in wine, and Mark is interested in great roads. Everybody wants something a little bit different. So we do not treat everybody the same. I know that sounds strange, but it's the truth. What makes our guides so special is they have a certain gift to figure out what each person wants on the tour, and give it to them. It's like Fantasy Island with Mr. Rourke. And they're really, really good on picking up on what somebody's looking for, who's shy, who's outgoing, who wants food, architecture, whatever it is. And inside one particular tour, they're really creating 10 micro tours.
Right.
Okay, and that's, for me, is the kind of the special thing that we kind of do, that makes us stand out a little bit.
Well, it's interesting is that one of your clients, Sherry, wrote an article for us about, she went on the Pyrenees tour with her husband, Steve. And the great thing about the article that she wrote is that, it was Steve's birthday. That was part of the occasion. And there was, on the day of his birthday, you guys made it particularly special for him. But also she, talks about how she had only gotten her license a couple of years prior, and she was a little bit nervous about the challenging roads, and that you and David and Mikel, that made sure that you looked out for her, that she was able to get comfortable on these roads in this unfamiliar environment. So that you adapted the situation to their specific needs.
Exactly. And Sherry and Steve, they're great people. She's sharp and she's a good athlete. She'd only been riding for 2 years. The Pyrenees are very technical roads, but she's a super quick learner. And one of the things that we did, she signed up for a low suspension 750 GS. She felt it was a little bit heavy, so we had a 310, a smaller bike. So we always carry a spare bike in the van, and the van always follows us. It doesn't go ahead. So if anybody needs anything, we could switch the bike. If somebody needs another layer of clothes or a battery for their camera, something like that, then they can get it. But because the van always goes last, then we can see how people ride, who needs a little bit of help in the turns. The van driver is always in communication with the lead, the head guide. So they're talking about, Sherry's, left-hand turns is cutting them too soon, etc. So we were able to give Sherry a lot of pointers also on the brakes. We do obviously daily briefings and we draw maps. And she's a phenomenal rider. About halfway through the tour, we put the 310 in the van. We took out the 750. And she's really just an amazing, and it's so gratifying to be able to do that. We have people that ride the Pyrenees, and they say that they've ridden more curves in 1 week than what they do in a normal year back home in the U.S. So it's a great learning environment riding in Spain or in Europe, anywhere in Europe for that matter.
Well, that's one of the special things about riding in, whether it's the Pyrenees, the Alps, some of these famous mountain ranges that have a lot of great roads, is depending on the part of the United States you may be living in, you may not be exposed to those sorts of roads. I live in California, and so we've got a lot of great mountain roads, but still there's something about how old, Europe is in terms of civilization. There's many more roads in the mountains than there might be in the United States, because there's villages tucked up in these mountains, or there's a monastery, or there's something like that. So that's part of the real special aspect of going on a tour, is not only experiencing those roads, but it's this sense of accomplishment that, wow, I've really done something. At the end of the day, that beer tastes better than it does, any other day. So
it's so true. People that haven't ridden in Europe, they don't maybe understand that the roads have evolved over 1,000 years. They were originally maybe goat tracks crossing the mountains, And then the Romans came and put a cobblestone road where that goat track was. So they're kind of following, an older path that was. It's not. They're not perfectly designed curves. You have decreasing radius. You have all different types of things thrown at you. That really, I mean, once you get to a higher proficiency of riding, it's so enjoyable. It's not, perfect chicanes. You don't. I mean, it's fun to have decreasing radius and turns that kind of keep you on your toes. That's, I really look for that. They go up and down steep mountains. That's what really makes it enjoying. And as you said, I mean, I go back to the States probably about 3 or 4 times a year. I go to the East Coast, I go to New York, I go to Florida a lot. I have family in Southern Florida, and it's completely flat. So we have people that they've been riding for 30 years in Florida, and you take them and you put them in the Pyrenees or in the Alps or wherever, and even though they've been riding for a long time, they're really lost. I mean, they really, really need help. And that's, it's like I said before, it's very gratifying as a guide to see, the improvement from day 1 to day 7, for example. That's one of the beauties of what we do. It's just, it really makes you feel good. There's a sense of accomplishment, on the part of the tour member and on the part of the guide once that's been done.
Right. Well, like I said, you've got guides that have been working with you for years. I know you go on some of the tours, and that you guys want everybody to have a positive experience. So it's not about, who can get to the coffee break the fastest. It's not a race, it's, but I remember when I did the last tour that I did with you, there was a part where a smaller group of us broke off with you or Chano, and on this one road that was kind of optional, and we took it at a nice clip because it was kind of a smaller group that wanted to, hey, we want to go, have a little fun, and we were able to do that. So like you said, it's tailored to each person.
It's, and it's absolutely, people are free to ride on their own. The guides are really good. There's always going to be different, unless it's maybe a motorcycle club that set up a custom tour where everybody has the same level. We're almost always going to have different levels of riding and what people, as I mentioned before, what people want out of the tour. If we have couples that want to go slow and stop and take pictures, that's fine. But the guides are really good at catering to everybody at the same time. So the guys that want to open it up a little bit and ride with the head guide, absolutely fine. You can ride behind him. We have different marking systems to stop people from getting lost. And the people that want to hang out and take pictures and kind of relax, that's absolutely fine also. And the support van is always last. If you're not sure if you have to go straight or make a left-hand turn, just wait there. The van's going to come up and point, go straight, go left. So it all works out. And I think we have a pretty good system after 25 years of how to organize successfully, the daily routes that we're running.
Sure. Well, I remember when we did the Spain and Portugal tour, there was an older couple, Jerry and Ann. They had done a number of tours with you, and there was 1 or 2 days that maybe Ann wasn't feeling well. She rode with in the chase van, so she was able to. It took some of the pressure off of her or Jerry to ride on the back of the motorcycle all day. And there was another woman who I was also as a passenger with her husband, who was dealing with some migraines or something, and she rode for a couple of days. And it was just, again, it gives people the options, like, you're not, if for some reason you're not up for it, you can ride in the van, or a passenger can ride in the van or something like that. So
exactly. And the beauty of it is also they're not going to miss out on any of the experience, because the van goes last and does exactly what we do. If we stop at a castle or if we stop at a beautiful viewpoint, they get to experience that. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. I mean, Jerry could ride on the motorcycle and he could enjoy, without Anne, who felt more comfortable in the van. But at the same time, she didn't feel like she was missing out on anything, because she was enjoying all the sights and sceneries that the rest of the tour group was enjoying. Yes. And another thing that we'll do, if anybody at any time wants to put a motorcycle in the van, we just tell them, if the van driver sees you stopped on the side of the road. The van driver's always going to stop and see if you need anything. And if you need something, you can get something out of your suitcase or whatever. But if you wanted to put your bike in the van, take it out, put it in, we don't care.
Yes.
Some people get tired, or we had one person that had vertigo. It's so strange because we had done a ton of tours with this person, and all of a sudden he developed vertigo on I guess it was left-hand turns when there was a drop, when you were going around the mountain. So sometimes we knew when that was coming up, and we say to him, if we'll put the bike in for the next, half hour after we get down the mountain a little bit, and then we'll take it out. And he was very happy, and then we took the bike out, and it worked out perfectly for everybody.
Sure. Yeah. Well, you guys are known, IMTBIKE's known for your tours in Spain and Portugal, but you guys have got tours all over Europe and other parts of the world. So give us a little bit kind of an overview of your catalog, so to speak, of tour offerings.
Mm-hmm. Well, in Europe, actually, IMTBIKE stands for Iberian Motor Tours. Now, that was 25 years ago when I was trying to come up with a name. The Iberian Peninsula is comprised of Spain and Portugal, and that's where we started. So I figured Iberian Motor Tours. Now, that was kind of a difficult thing for Americans to remember, and they would go, Siberian Motor Tours. And I mean, no, it's Iberian Motor Tours. It's Spain and Portugal. There's no snow. There's no ice. It's not cold. So we changed it to IMT. That's where the IMT comes from, IMTBIKE. So originally the tours were Spain and Portugal. And then we expanded. I think the year after we started going to Morocco. I've probably been to Morocco myself about 50 times. Absolutely love Morocco. I know you love Morocco. Yeah. Also, it's just a fascinating country. We do Italy and France. Also, we do Corsica, Sardinia, Provence, Tuscany. We do the Alps. We do the Dolomites also. So basically, in Europe and Northern Africa, it's basically the Alps down to Morocco. That would be our region. And because we have people that ride with us year after year after year, we decided, we need to come up with something outside of our kind of geographical region that we can share with them. So we started our global tour department, if you will. And so right now we're running tours in Japan, in Thailand, New Zealand, Colombia, Turkey. We're going to start with Vietnam also. And basically what we do is we find a local partner that's high quality. We use them for motorcycles and for infrastructure. We tell them what type of hotels, what type of restaurants we need, how to organize the day. And there's always an IMTBIKE that goes on to make sure that our level of quality is maintained, and to and to use his gift to make sure that everyone's getting what they want out of the tour. So that's basically what we're doing as far as touring region, and we're always looking for new places. I mean, we've been to Alaska also, so it's fun. I mean, it's fun to explore the world. That's what I mean. You're an adventurer like myself. Sure. There's nothing more enjoyable than going to an unknown land and riding a motorcycle and checking it out. That's the best way to explore.
Well, I mean, I could see, especially like you said, if you've got an 85% repeat rate with your clients, is that you've always got to have something new for them, because they, and even within Spain and Portugal, it's not like you guys have just a couple of tours. You've got all different kinds, because there's different regions of both countries. Spain is a lot bigger than Portugal, but there's southern Spain is very different than northern Spain, and there's so many different historical cities and things like that. So so what have you got in the way of new tours? I know I've got my eye on, you've got a northern Spain tour that goes through Galicia that I've got my eye on.
It's a good question, and the beauty about Spain, I mean, Spain is the most mountainous country in the European Union. I know. I don't know if you knew that. Did you think that was Switzerland?
No, yeah, I probably would have guessed Switzerland. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, yeah, Switzerland's not in the European Union, Greg.
Ah,
Or it would be Switzerland.
there you
Switzerland is
go.
all, it's just all mountains. But, take Switzerland out of the equation,
Yeah.
and Spain is just all mountains. And the north of Spain, as you said, the north of Spain is completely different from the south of Spain. I mean, architecturally, the people look different, the food is different. Spain could probably be seven different countries all compressed into one country, just like the U.S. could be. I mean, Texas could be a country, maybe California. Then you have the Southwest, New England, etc. They're all different accents, dialects, food, etc. So we were very studious, if you will, I guess. And we took advantage of the slower COVID years, and we came up with a lot of new tours. Actually, we supercharged our Portugal tour, the best of Portugal. We added more days to that. We came up with the Essence of Portugal, which is a 1 week tour that's just starts and ends in Lisbon from our base in Lisbon, and it's just we're just going to see the highlights of Portugal. The same with our Green Spain tour, which used to start in Santiago de Compostela and go to San Sebastian. And now that we have our own rather large base in Bilbao, we start in Bilbao. We added 2 more days. We go to San Sebastian in the Basque Country. We go to Cantabria. We go to Asturias. We go to Galicia. It's kind of following the Camino de Santiago, the pilgrimage
Sure.
in
Yeah.
Europe.
Yeah.
And then we head back to Bilbao, and then I mean that's a 16-day tour. Again, a lot of people don't have that type of vacation, so we came up with the Essence of Northern Spain, which is the 8-day version. It's just highlighting the beauty of Northern Spain, which is so green, great roads, great food. It's just a fantastic place. And we added, for example, MotoGP Valencia, which is the last race of the MotoGP season. We added a couple more days to that. That starts in Barcelona and that heads down to Valencia, where we have great seats for the race. And then we can continue down along the coast towards the Alpujarra Mountains, close to Granada. And then we end up in Malaga, at our base in Malaga. So we just took advantage and kind of super tuned everything that we have. But we have tours in Spain and Portugal. We probably have, I would say, at least 20 tours that we're offering.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I have to say, because of motorcycle press launches, I've been to Spain and Portugal many, many times, not just on tours, but partly because, especially southern Spain is kind of like the California of Europe. You've got the mountains all the way to the sea, you've got the mild Mediterranean climate. But you mentioned Valencia, there's the track at in Barcelona. So yeah, you've got racetracks, you've got great roads, you've got good weather. We even have these MotoGP stars that are from Spain. Exactly. One of the things I've always enjoyed, and I think that's partly why they have so many motorcycle press launches in Spain, is not just the weather, but as you said earlier, is like the Spanish love motorcycles. I mean, so there's I guess I'd say a little bit more of a permissive environment in terms of traffic and parking, and even speeding a little bit is not exactly frowned upon. I know, like you mentioned Switzerland, you get even a mild speeding ticket in Switzerland, it can be many, many euros. But
Absolutely.
so it's like a very motorcycle friendly environment, and that comes across when you're in a village or a town or on roads, and it really adds a lot to it. Yeah.
Spain is, it's probably one of the most motorcycle friendly countries there is. And the truth is, everybody has a family member or a friend that rides a motorcycle. I mean, that's just how it is. So when you see a motorcycle, that's stopped on the side of the road in the US, maybe another motorcycle will look and, do you need any help or anything? But in Spain, people in a car are going to pull over. That might be my sister, my father, my mother, my cousin, that needs help. So it's not, there's such a respect for motorcyclists. Lane splitting it's absolutely fine. And people driving cars will open up to make that lane wider so that you have an easier time, negotiating up to the front of the pack to the traffic light. It's so, you can park on sidewalks. You can basically park wherever you want. It's so nice to live in an environment that respects motorcyclists and that really is looking out for motorcyclists always. This is something, in the US, it would be nice if the US could learn a little bit, and people would treat motorcyclists with, I would say, more respect and just look out for them more. I think that would be such a great thing. I'm so lucky to live here as a motorcyclist.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Like I said, the opportunities I've had to ride there has been it's been great. Not just the roads, but just there feels like there's a bit of a freedom, and that everybody's kind of on the same team or supportive and so forth. Um, Listen, I mean, you mentioned with COVID and the pandemic. I mean, that obviously has had an effect on a lot of businesses, but motorcycle tours and travel I'm sure it's been really challenging. So, how have you adapted to the new situation we're in?
COVID is kind of it's an interesting situation. I mean, it made the world learn a lot and learn that things can be done in different ways. On one level, if you lost a loved one, it's obviously it's a travesty. From a business point of view, obviously, any type of tourism company or cruise ship, whatever. Our business went down a lot. I mean, people could not come over, the borders were closed, etc. On a family level, it was, I'm married. I have a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old daughter, and it was for me probably the biggest gift that could have been given to me. We had the most incredible family time, with clubs and games and movie night and doing exercise together. So for me, I found the good in COVID, and it's just a wonderful bond with my wife and my two daughters. From a company point of view, I think that we really killed it. We did a great job. Nobody lost money. None of our customers lost money, because I've heard this mentioned before. I was signed up for a cruise ship and they kept my deposit. We either gave people a full refund or they have a full credit without a time limit. So, it's not my place. It's not my style to make money off of COVID. I have absolutely no interest in doing that. We were in contact with our clients, sending them updates from here, because I think what's going on in Europe and maybe what's being shown on the news in the US or Canada or other countries, isn't exactly the same thing. So, right now in Spain, we walk around, everything is open. Everything is completely open. Restaurants, hotels, museums. If you go indoors, you have to wear a mask. If you go into a supermarket, a museum, a shop, you put on the mask. Outside, you take it off. When you go to the restaurant, you sit down, you take it off. But it's really, life is very much back to normal. So I think it was important to communicate that to the people, so people, have a good understanding of what's going on. And I'll tell you something, from a company point of view, financially, we're a strong company, so that really wasn't an issue for us. But what I really, really saw is how great there's 30 employees in the company, and everybody just pulled together. It was so nice to see, and I really could not be more proud of the people in the company and how they rallied around us to get through. And the truth is, I would say that we're a stronger company now, post-COVID, than before COVID. So I really have no regrets. We actually finished the year last year, from June until December. We did 40 tours in 6 months. So we really finished off with a strong year. And this year we're like, so, it's so funny. We're really, really packed. We're, almost all tours are, a lot of them are fully booked, and others are at 80 or 90%. It's so early in the year. But it's so funny because some people do a tour a year. And if they were not able to do a tour last year, so they're like, okay, that means I have to do two tours this year. So we have people that have signed up for a tour in the spring and then another tour in the fall to come back. And it's, it's great. It's a tough situation, COVID, for everybody. Obviously, this affected everybody. But on a company level, I'm super happy with our the people that in the IMT Bike family, as we say, and I'm super happy with our clients that have been so loyal to us. They really believed in us. I would say 99% believed in us.
Well, that's great. I mean, like you said, if you've got a high retention rate with clients, they've enjoyed their experience with you. You've been, you've dealt with them in a honest and stand up manner in terms of deposits and things like that. So, and for a lot of people, I know myself included, is there was there was the restriction on a lot of travel and so forth. So for some people that really are travel is an important regular part of their life, I could see how there would be a lot of pent up demand where, like you said, you've got people that are like, well, I'm going to do not one tour, but two tours. And,
Mhm.
once there's reassurances that, well, with vaccinations or testing or so forth, that travel is okay because everybody in your organization and hotels and restaurants wants to be safe. And so everybody's
Exactly.
adapted to the new environment. So, I mean, I've been over to Europe, for a press launch back in December, and there was testing before and after and so forth, and everything went off without a hitch, and everybody was very careful. So, yeah, I think when people have that sort of reassurance, that makes a big difference. So,
Exactly. And I mean, it was like I said, I go back to the States 4 times a year. So the first time I went back after the pandemic started to get to southern Florida, I mean, I flew from Madrid to Frankfurt to Chicago to Fort Myers. I mean, it was like 30 hours. It was ridiculous. Instead of flying from Madrid to Miami or to New York and then to Fort Myers. But it's so easy to travel now. I mean, planes are really safe. The oxygen renewal system in the planes is equivalent to a hospital operating room. So it's you have to wear the mask obviously in the airport and on the plane. It helps very much if you're vaccinated. If you're not vaccinated, I think you have to do the antigen test 24 hours before you fly. That's probably what it is right now. Of course, that's changing, every day. But it's not complicated to travel. And once you get over, I mean, it's so nice. As you said, there's a lot of pent up demand. So people really need to get back to it.
well, and a lot of people have sort of they've reevaluated their priorities. There are some people that are like, hey, I've been waiting too long to go do some of the things I want to do. And I think with the pandemic, it brought home for most people that you just never know what can happen tomorrow or is around the corner. So if there's things you've been wanting to do in life, a bucket list trip, an anniversary
Absolutely.
trip, like I said, a father son or some sort of trip, is there's no time like the present. If you have the means to do it, go for it, and you'll feel better for having done it. So yeah.
I completely agree, Greg, and I think people are starting to get over the fear of traveling, of COVID. Traveling really is safe. I mean, I've traveled with my wife and my girls all over Europe. We went to Amsterdam, we're going to Paris, we go to Portugal, to the U.S. It's not complicated at all, and we have a lot of clients, a lot of tour members that are in their 70s. As long as you're physically fit, mentally sharp, that's absolutely fine. We had people last year. There was a gentleman from Colorado who was 83, I believe. That he was on the first tour that we did actually once the pandemic, opened up, the borders opened up. But there's a lot of people that really want to get back to living their lives. I mean, if you have somebody that's 74, 75, maybe in their minds they're thinking, I only have 5 summers left.
Right.
So, for them, it's just so important that they can, get over the fear and get back to enjoying their lives. I completely understand it. And of course, IMT Bike as a company, we have safety measures intact. How we clean the bikes, the luggage, how we organize the hotels, restaurants, etc., to just maximize safety for everybody. I mean, safety has to come first. If it's safety on the motorcycle or safety from the pandemic, it's our responsibility. It's IMT Bike's responsibility to make sure that we have all the bases covered and we give you the highest degree of safety. And that's what we have to do.
Yeah, that's great. Well, hey, I want to, congratulate you on 25 years that you were able to take the pandemic as an opportunity to, expand your tour offerings to, sort of refresh some of your tours. You said that you kind of enhance them in different ways, whether it's adding some days or adding some shorter versions of them and so forth. So how do folks find out more about everything that IMT has to offer?
Well, I think the best way is to go to the website, which is www.imtbike.com. There they can see all the tours that we offer. They can send us an email at tours@imtbike.com. If they want to read some reviews, if they go to TripAdvisor and type in IMTBIKE, we've been voted the best of the best, which puts us in the top 10% of travel companies in the world. They can read what other people are saying. I mean, I could tell you that we're wonderful, but it's always nice to read somebody else's words. But that's the best way to find out about us. And if anybody would like to talk to me, I'm happy to talk to people on the phone or email. It's absolutely my pleasure to speak to people.
That's great. Well, we'll include some links in the show notes so people can check out your website and send you an email if they have some questions. Of course, we've got some reviews of some of your tours on the Rider Magazine website. We've been on a number of your tours over the years. So, hey, Scott, man, it's great to see you. I'm glad things are going well for you. I'm glad, again, 25 years, that's a huge milestone. So congratulations on that accomplishment. And I'm hoping to get on one of your tours this year.
Thank you so much, Greg. I want Carrie back this year. We're going to have a great time. So make it happen, and I'll make it happen so I'm on the tour with you.
Awesome.
Okay?
I appreciate it. Well, again, for Rider Magazine, I'm Greg Drevenstedt. Thanks for listening, and keep the rubber side down. Take care, Scott.
Okay, Greg. Great talking. Bye-bye.
Thank you. If you've enjoyed listening to the Rider Magazine Insider Podcast, please subscribe, leave us a positive rating, and tell your friends. We also encourage you to visit ridermagazine.com, where you can get the latest in motorcycle news and reviews and sign up for our free weekly newsletter. You can also subscribe to print and digital editions of Rider Magazine, which is published 12 times a year. Thanks again for listening.